Love, love, love. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning and happy Valentine's Day. Yes. Well, I realize that Valentine's Day may have mixed emotions for some of us, especially if we, perhaps don't have a sweetie. And I remember for years, my younger daughter and I were one another's Valentines because we didn't have sweeties in our lives. But I also remember how precious Valentine's Day was to me as a child. It was the only holiday my father went into a store and shopped because at home he had a wife and three daughters, and he would come home every Valentine's Day with this huge heart candy for my mom, and then a little bit smaller one for my sister Kathy, and then smaller ones yet for my sister Sue and I. And it was so precious. He was so happy to do that for us, for all of his girls. And I remember the first year I was away from home on Valentine's Day. I had moved out and I didn't have that candy from my father. And I was a little pouty about it. And I never stopped to think that how he must have been feeling as each one of us, grew up and left home and he had fewer and fewer candy hearts to bring home. And today I get to experience what he eventually got to experience, and that's grandchildren and getting to spoil them. And now, because of the pandemic, we've come to be kind of substitute family for some of our neighbors. Where we live here on Arkansas, this is a very short street. We only have two neighbors, and he's 93 years old, and we love to spoil Tommy. So yesterday he got a big heart candy. But we are love, each one of us. We are love. And isn't it great to have this holiday where it is celebrated and where it is actually appropriate and acceptable to express love and appreciation? Not that as Unity students we need an excuse, but it's really fun to join in with everyone else that is doing the same thing. Well, the holiday of Valentine's Day has an unknown origin. Some believe that its origin is the Roman festival Lupercalia. Now, Lupercalia was celebrated in the middle of February, and it was to celebrate the coming of spring. And it also had some fertility rites that were included, as well as, many believe, a lottery where the young single women of Rome would put their names and which would be chosen by a male, and they were partnered for the next year. And sometimes they were married. Well, by the end of the 5th century, Pope Gelasius I decided that that wasn't something he was going to celebrate. And so this Roman festival got changed to St. Valentine's Day. And still the history is unknown, for there were three martyred priests during the 3rd centuries, all named Valentine or Valentine or Valentinus, various names. And remember, martyr means that they were killed for their beliefs. The first one, the legend is that he was imprisoned by the emperor, and he had a connection with the emperor's daughter. Some believe he healed her from blindness, and before he was executed, he wrote her a note and said, "From your Valentine." There's another legend that it's Saint Valentine of Tournai, who is a bishop who was also martyred. Might have been the same person, we don't know. And then the last is a more common legend, and it was about a priest in the 3rd century that would marry young people in secret because the emperor decided that single men made much better soldiers, and so he forbade his soldiers to marry. And this priest would marry couples in secret, and that's very romantic. And so this idea of romantic love on Valentine's Day has been celebrated since the 14th century. We've got some history here. And it's not just celebrated in the United States, but in Great Britain, in Canada, and Australia, in France, Mexico, and South Korea, just to name a few. And in the Philippines, this is the most common wedding anniversary because it is not uncommon on this day for hundreds of couples to be married in mass wedding ceremonies in the Philippines. Well, the history is not as important as the fact that this celebration has continued through all the centuries, that it has endured the celebration of love. And that gives me great hope. I feel very positive for our future that this day exists and has for all these many centuries. And it's not just about romantic love. We share our appreciation with our friends and our families, our neighbors. We may have a love for Mother Earth, and here's a day to celebrate that. So this day has really been expanded in its meaning. It's more inclusive. And we appreciate that, this inclusivity. This morning, I share with you from the Revealing Word, which is a dictionary of metaphysical terms that was penned by Charles Fillmore, his definition of love. Love is the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Of all the attributes of God, love is undoubtedly the most beautiful. In divine mind, love is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it, the great harmonizing principle known to man. Divine love is impersonal. It loves for the sake of loving. It is not concerned with what or who it loves, not with a return of love. Like the sun, the joy is in the shining forth of its nature. Love is an inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good. And by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality, finally, to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. Love is the great harmonizer and healer. Whoever calls on God as Holy Spirit for healing is calling on divine love. Divine love will bring your own to you, adjust all misunderstandings, and make your life and affairs healthy, happy, harmonious, and free. And from Romans 13:10, love, therefore, is the fulfillment of the law. Love, therefore, is the fulfillment of the law. Love. Well, this morning, I'd like to share with you the reading from 1 Corinthians 13. Perhaps you haven't been to a wedding for a while to hear this, for it is most often used as a tribute to love. But first, I'd like to share with you a little bit about that letter, for it is a letter written from the Apostle Paul to the church in Corinth. And this church was very dear to Paul, for he is the one who established this church. This letter was written, however, in response to the very opposite condition being present. And it's interesting how he sandwiches this 13th chapter between where he's discussing the attributes and the spiritual gifts, spiritual achievements. And if we look at this symbolically for what this means to us today, we can look at Corinth, this Corinthian church, as symbolically representing our society as a whole. For it was not an homogeneous body of people. The members were not all the same. This was not a comfortable gathering where everyone fell in step with one another, where they all had the same basic experiences in life and shared the same basic beliefs. This was quite contrary to that. The Corinthian fellowship crossed all conventional social boundaries. Ethnicity, gender, age, rank, status, life situation. There were married and unmarried. There were widows. There were children. Most of the congregation were converted Gentiles, but there were also Jews. And the Jews, the people in the minority, were sometimes in leadership roles. Most of the people there were very poor, of the lower classes. And yet the city treasurer of Corinth was a member of this church, as was another very wealthy contributor who was kind of a patron for the church. There were slave and there were free people, people of different skill sets and gifts. And this diversity generated both benefits and challenges that are common to any social group. There was discord, there was rivalry. They were divided into contentious groups. Some would follow this leader, and this group took a side with another teacher. It was a fragmented community, much like our fragmented world that we see around us. And Paul remains absolutely firm in his conviction that diversity is non-negotiable. They were not to split up into different sects, into different fragments. They were not to split the church or go in their own way to be with like-minded people, only people just like them. This community was to be diverse and to get along. And so 1 Corinthians 13 was not a tribute to what was, but it was a call to action. It was actually an intervention, trusting that this could be accomplished through the love that we each are, that we each possess, the gift of love that is within every one of us. And so with that in mind, let us listen to this intervention in 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have and I deliver my body to be burned and have not love, I gave nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away, for our knowledge is imperfect, and our prophecy is imperfect. But when the perfect comes, when we're aware of our Christ consciousness, the imperfect will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man or woman, I gave up childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall understand fully, even as I have been understood. So faith, hope, love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. David Roth is one of my favorite New Thought musicians. He tells stories in his song. He's a little folksy. And he has a song called Rising in Love. And it's his response to the term falling in love. And in the song, he says, I'm not falling at all. I am rising in love. And that same phrase is used in an Om Shanti chant by Daybree, rising in love. What I would like for us to do this morning, if you would envision with me that we are rising in love. that our energy is being lifted, that we perhaps are standing more upright, more assured, more self-confident in who we are as love. And let us hold together that powerful vision of rising in love. Hold that vision that everyone in the sanctuary is rising in love. Everyone on Zoom, everyone on Facebook Live and YouTube, however they're joining us, they're all rising in love. They're all feeling full to overflowing of the essence of love that is the core of who they are. And now envision that everyone gathered this morning, whatever church or synagogue, mosque, temple, wherever they are rising in love. And wherever they are in the Keys, they might be at Duval, they might be at Fort Zach, they may be at the artisan market already. They might be working, they might be still sleeping. Everyone is rising in love, lifting their energy, having their hearts overflowing with the awareness of good. And now envision with me our entire world, that beautiful blue-green marble, rising in love, vibrating in the energy of love, having that vibration of love pulsating from the entire world. This is the vision for us to hold today and every day, because our world needs us. They need you, they need me, they need unity. We have the tools to do this, to be the love that is needed, to change the vibration of this planet by changing our own. What if the pattern of turmoil in our society is calling us higher? It's saying, hey, you, unity, you guys filled with love, you guys that know that there is one presence and one power, we need you. What if it is asking us to show up differently, with more love, with more compassion, for us to be more fully divine? What a fantastic time for us to be alive. What if everything is happening to reveal our good, to reveal the one presence, the one power? What if everything is happening to reveal my good, to reveal your good? What is revealed can be healed. What if there truly is one life living in and through each one of us? What if our differences are a celebration of spirit living through us? We were made for these times, my friends, you and I. We were made for these times to be love, out loud, boldly showing up as love. Well, today is Valentine's Day, and most of the day remains. So perhaps you want to connect with your prayer partner, your friends, your family. Head on down after church to the artisan market. Maybe buy yourself a little gift. Show yourself some love. Make some calls, some texts, buy some chocolate and share it. This is the day to be love, and let this only be the start of showing greater love. Be the love you are. And you are, my friends. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. Amen.